Kevin Stefanski should have been fired last night.
Yep.
He will be fired at the end of this season. He did not want Shedeur in the first place. He has tried everything in his power to keep Shedeur from succeeding this entire football season, to the point of sabotage. That was pure sabotage yet again, as he made Shedeur take the trot of shame, as I call it. You make him, you force him off the field for a play that he would have made because he'd been making that play.
The Titans beat the Browns, but Shedeur joined a very historic club during his third NFL start.
Yeah,
He's the first Browns quarterback with 300 pass yards, 3 touchdowns, and a rush touchdown in the same game since 1950. He's also the 7th rookie in the Super Bowl era to throw for 360 yards, have 4 total touchdowns, rush or pass in the same game, joining C.J. Stroud, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Marcus Mariota, Andrew Luck, and Matthew Stafford. But despite, got me frustrated because I'm.
You won't believe this actually went down. Moments after dropping the game of his life, Shedeur Sanders gets pulled, and suddenly the Browns sideline looks like a full-blown drama series in real time. The coach instantly becomes public enemy #1, and the whole stadium feels it. Fans are frozen, analysts are scrambling for explanations, and the internet starts sharpening its digital pitchforks before the broadcast even cuts to commercial. What should have been a smooth victory lap explodes into chaos, mixed signals, and conspiracy-level frustration. How does a breakout night end with a bench seat in a franchise looking like it stepped on its own shoelaces?
Stefanski took him out with the game on the line. Ocho.
Yeah.
What I don't understand.
Yes, sir.
When you're down 14, you score a touchdown, you're at home. Why are you going for 2?
Yeah.
Kick the PAT, and guess what, Ocho? You're down 7. Now you score a touchdown and kick the PAT. Guess what, Ocho? We tied.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's no explanation behind what Stefanski is doing. There's none at all.
It's Kevin Stefanski.
The Kevin Stefanski situation is tough. Shady, you put out a tweet earlier today. You said, how can Shedeur be great when his own coach is holding him back? I can't wait to hear Kevin's excuse after they sat him for the 2-point conversion play to go tie the game.
How crazy was that, though, dog?
Yeah,
I cannot stand that coach, yo.
Fellas, I mean, the Stefanski,
can I advocate for the devil first?
Whoa, like already?
Let me
already.
Let me jump
got
to
more
advocate
tweets
for
to get to it.
Let me jump to advocate.
The NFL crown tilted and everything went wild. The stadium was still shaking with that electric buzz, the kind that hangs in the air after something legendary just happened. But out of nowhere, the whole sideline vibe flipped, like someone pulled the plug at a packed concert. Shedeur Sanders had just sliced through the field like he was late to a reservation. Precision, control, confidence. Every throw looked like it was designed for a highlight reel. Analysts dream of performances like this when they're drawing up plays on those fancy telestrators. And right when the crowd was ready to declare the arrival of a new era, the Browns calmly guided their hottest weapon straight to the bench like he accidentally spilled Gatorade on the coach's headset.
Kevin Stefanski threw that game today. I 100% guarantee you he threw that game today, and I'm going to tell you why. He threw that game because right now, if the NFL draft were to happen today, the Cleveland Browns are sitting 5th in the NFL draft. They're sitting 5th. They have the 5th overall pick right now. They don't want to win no more games. So what we saw from Shedeur today, Shedeur was sensational. He was exceptional. The man was picking the Titans defense apart. Yeah, he had an interception, whatever. Who cares? But on that last drive.
So you want every fucking rookie on the field except for Shedeur.
That's right.
Then you got a backup tackle running the over route. That's what we came up with for the game? Are you saving? Yeah. That's your best 2-point play. You can't be saving your best 2-point play because you ain't going to the playoffs. So it ain't like you saving them. We're going to save our best shit for the playoffs. I just can't, bro. Like, you take your hottest rookie out and let every other rookie on the field touch the bitch.
Yeah, and Larvadan's undrafted.
Nobody saw it coming, and everyone in the building felt the shock hit at the same time. The whole NFL blinked, because seriously, what universe benches a quarterback right after he plays the best game of his life? It was like watching a chef cook a perfect steak and then swap it out with a frozen corn dog before serving the final plate. Confusion didn't just walk in the door, it unpacked its bags and signed a long-term lease, and it didn't take long for the reaction to explode. social media lit up instantly, fast, messy, and wired like someone fed caffeine straight into the servers. Analysts started switching opinions mid-sentence. Fans went from celebrating to doing investigative reporting in seconds. And over all that noise floated one question nobody could shake. How did Stefanski look at this moment and think, yep, this is the right call? Shedeur had just given the type of performance that usually locks in starting spots, endorsement attention, and custom cleats. Every drive felt like he was carving his name into the team's future. And then out of nowhere, that future got folded up and dropped next to the water bottles. This wasn't just a benching, it was a wild plot twist nobody ordered. One moment, the Browns had a star in motion. The next, they were stuck in a philosophical debate happening live on the sideline. Was this strategy? Was it discipline? Or was it the football equivalent of switching lanes into traffic just to prove something? Nobody could tell. And honestly, the most jaw-dropping part wasn't even the benching itself. It was the confidence Stefanski had when he made the move. He acted like he was playing chess upside down and still expected to win. No hesitation, no second glance, no sideline committee discussion, just a straight-up decision that sent shockwaves through fans faster than a missed extra point in overtime.
Yo, you just said the design was perfect, right? You just said a running back is reading a corner, and he's a rookie at that? Wait, not no veteran running back, a rookie.
Yeah.
Right? Dog, what are we talking about here? Your quarterback has a hot hand. Hot hand is confident.
Yeah.
He's feeling himself.
Yeah.
Keep him in the game. Yo, you talking about reading a corner, so he didn't go with the corner.
Yeah.
So he thought about it.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? What is this?
Shady players got to make plays, though, G.
Bro, I'm not putting the ball in my rookie running back's
So
hands.
you'd rather put it in your rookie
I do have a question for the Browns, whether it's for the OC or Stefanski. Final moments of the game. Shedeur takes that team all the way down. They score a touchdown. You're down by 2. You have to go for a 2-point conversion to tie it up. Why take Shedeur off the field? I think they did a direct snap and they tried to do a double reverse, and I think Quinshon Junkins had the ball in his hand. But why get tricky at that moment in the game? Just let your young QB, have a moment and push this game into overtime. I didn't understand that. Just overcomplicating the moment.
I want to know what's going on with Kevin Stefanski. Why do you take Shedeur Sanders off the field for that 2-point conversion? That was the most humiliating game I have ever watched as a Browns fan. Kevin Stefanski needs to be fired tomorrow. Shedeur Sanders, in his 3rd ever start as a rookie, first of all, had a phenomenal game. Damn near 400 yards passing, 4 total touchdowns, played great,
The crowd didn't slowly quiet down. It dropped like someone cut the sound. What followed was that strange mix of stunned silence and awkward chuckles people make when they realize they might have witnessed something historically questionable. Analysts started pulling out whole new vocabularies of disbelief. Casual fans instantly transformed into strategy experts with imaginary charts and emotional diagrams flying across their minds. Because no matter how you looked at it, this move didn't feel like a calculated plan. It felt like something else entirely. The whole moment felt like a magic trick with no reveal and definitely no reward. What made it hit even harder was the timing. If this happened after a shaky game, people would have argued, sure, but at least the debate would have made sense. Instead, it happened right after Shedeur delivered the kind of performance that usually earns standing cheers and souvenir towels. The defense was stumbling. All the momentum sat perfectly in Cleveland's lap. The rhythm was flowing smooth, and then suddenly the conductor dipped out mid-symphony like the show was over, even though the band was still playing. In seconds, the Browns weren't just playing football anymore. They were starring in a live lesson called How to Kill Your Own Momentum in Real Time. Stefanski's decision didn't feel like football, it felt like a philosophy class nobody signed up for. It made everyone wonder if this was about game control, locker room politics, or loyalty to some analytic spreadsheet that doesn't know what fun is. Somewhere inside that choice was a reason, at least in theory. Whatever algorithm spat out that idea might need a checkup for emotional awareness and basic vibe reading. Football lives on rhythm and confidence, and Shedeur had both overflowing. This benching didn't just throw off one guy, it rattled the whole ecosystem. Timing went weird, play calling tightened up, the energy dropped from bold to hesitant, from electric to straight awkward. Cleveland had a real momentum wave going, and instead of riding it, they drove it straight into a wall. The NFL forgives bad throws, it even forgives bad seasons. But what it does not forgive is a decision that makes the entire league stop and say, wait, what? And that's exactly what this became, a massive pause button smacked across every screen.
My initial thought was, wow, that was big of Lima. Like, he didn't have to concede all of that right then and there. And while admitting basically that he just fell victim to the idea that the Browns were pushing him all sorts of information, and like a sucker at the poker table, he was buying it. Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm shocked he did that. Behind the scenes about Shedeur's lack of development and all this other stuff, and that it was hogwash. And meanwhile, I was getting shouted down by people like Lima who were telling me, no, you're not talking to the right people. Everyone that's there says he can't even do anything, can't even hold a football. It's like,
you might be a nice guy, Kevin, but what you did today just fueled the storm of people asking you. Go ahead, ask the same questions now. All you reporters, it's absurd that Kevin would sabotage. You took your quarterback out of the game when he brought you back from the depths of Hades, dropped dimes, picked himself off the cold turf after he got hit time after time after time, walked his way up the field, threw a dime to Harold Fanning Jr., and you take the football out of his hand?
He was the only one. With 4.5 minutes left, Shedeur Sanders took this team down the field, punched in a scramble touchdown on the ground to make this 31-23. Kick the extra point, Kevin. We still don't know why you decided to go for 2 there, but you didn't get it. So now it's an 8-point game instead of 7. And what does Shedeur Sanders do? The next time he gets the ball right back down the field, scores a touchdown. You are 1 2-point conversion away now from tying this game up and going to overtime. And I want to know what's going on with Kevin Stefanski.
Fans weren't just confused, they were offended on a deep level. Watching a quarterback dominate only to get benched right after feels like being promised dessert, and then getting handed the menu again. It breaks the unspoken deal between a team and its supporters. If something's working, you let it keep working until the wheels fall off. You don't hit the brakes like success owes you rent money. And there sat Shedeur on the sideline, helmet still warm while the game kept moving like nothing wild just happened. Of course, the cameras kept drifting back to him. Nothing builds tension like the star suddenly watching instead of playing. Every shot at that bench had the same question hanging in the air. Is this really happening right now? Meanwhile, Stefanski stood there calm, steady, and locked in. His posture said he believed in this call with his whole chest, even while the entire universe quietly disagreed. It wasn't the look of doubt or stubbornness. It was the look of someone who already convinced himself he was right and had zero plans to read the room. And that's where the irony really exploded. This wasn't just a tactical move, it was a message, a loud one. The internet naturally did not take this lightly. Clips of Shedeur's best throws got stitched together with shots of him on the bench, creating a before and after that nobody asked for. Memes multiplied like someone coordinated them worldwide. Every throw Shedeur completed suddenly turned into Exhibit A in the unofficial trial against whatever logic produced that benching. Some fans tried hard to make sense of it. Maybe it was precaution, maybe there was some hidden injury, maybe a quiet rotation plan nobody mentioned. But every theory collapsed under the same cold truth. The timing was terrible, and the move felt totally disconnected from what everyone just watched on that field. And that's how one benching turned into a full-on referendum, not just about Shedeur's role, but about Stefanski's instincts. The coach wasn't just being questioned, he was being crowdsourced into a national argument about whether basic logic still has a seat in NFL decision-making. Suddenly, every Browns game came with a new subplot. Will he do it again? Because once you bench a quarterback after the game of his life, the trust account hits 0. Every drive becomes a test. Every sub looks suspicious. Every glance at the clipboard turns into a possible conspiracy theory in the making. The job stops being about wins. It becomes about controlling the storyline. Shedeur's narrative was heating up fast before it got interrupted. He wasn't just playing well, he was declaring his presence. His pocket control was cold and composed. His reads were sharp. His passes weren't guesses, they were delivered with purpose. He looked like someone stepping into a role that fit him perfectly, which made the sudden benching feel less like strategy and more like somebody got spooked by success. And the locker room noticed. Teammates always do. They feel momentum like electricity. They know when their QB is cooking. When he's in rhythm, the whole squad moves cleaner. cleaner. Linemen block with more bite. Receivers run their routes with extra snap. The whole offense breathes in sync. But pull that thread suddenly, and everything stumbles. And whether Stefanski meant it or not, trust took a hit. Not in his skill, but in his feel for the moment. Coaches survive in the thin space where belief lives. Players trust systems. Fans trust direction. Analysts trust patterns. And this one call cracked all three at the same time. It didn't just invite questions, it demanded them. How could this be the right move? What analysis justifies yanking the best performing player at his hottest moment? What spreadsheet treats momentum like a rounding error? It felt like watching somebody check the forecast in the middle of a hurricane and decide it's a great time for a picnic. As the game moved on, the benching became bigger than the scoreboard. The highlights weren't just showing touchdowns anymore, they were framed by absence. Every replay of Shedeur's earlier brilliance doubled as a silent accusation aimed at the decision that followed. His performance wasn't just impressive anymore, it became Exhibit A in a national cross-examination of Stefanski's judgment. By the time the final whistle neared, the actual result of the game felt secondary. The real fallout was already forming across timelines, debate shows, text threads, and group chats. Stefanski wasn't just trending, he was being dissected. Every old decision started getting reevaluated through the lens of this moment. Was this a one-off mistake or a pattern that had been sitting in plain sight? And the irony was loud enough to echo. Coaches preach competition, preparation, execution, and Shedeur delivered all three. The reward? A seat on the bench and a sudden graduate level debate about rotation philosophy. It was like excellence caused the system to glitch out. No matter how Stefanski tries to explain it later, this moment is welded into the season storyline. It will follow him into every press conference, every lineup decision, every in-game switch. The memory of that performance, followed immediately by that benching, will hover over the season like an unresolved chord waiting for a finish that never comes. If Shedeur struggles later on, people will point right back to this moment and call it a confidence crack. If he dominates, folks will spin it as an obstacle he powered through. And if the Browns trip up down the stretch, this will get dragged back up as the day they yanked their own spark right when it was lighting up the field. No matter how things unfold, this benching has already lived longer than the drive it shut down. Across the league, coaches took mental notes, some treating it like a warning, others treating it like permission to get bold with their own decisions. In a sport obsessed with control, this moment showed how one choice can flip the entire perception of a game. One move transformed a rising star into a giant question mark and turned a regular matchup into a full conversation across the NFL. And right in the center of it all sits that stubborn question nobody can delete. How could this possibly be the right call? Shedeur had just played his best game ever, and then suddenly he was on the bench. All that tape, all that planning, all that analysis, just to arrive at a decision that felt like it came from a whole different universe where momentum is pretend and hot hands expire like coupons. The Browns didn't just bench a quarterback, they bench pressed the logic of the moment and dropped it right on national television. And now, with the entire NFL watching every move, every future decision Stefanski makes comes with the silent subtitle of that unforgettable question. What exactly was the analysis here? One thing is locked in, the league reacted, the narrative shifted, and one substitution ended up becoming the loudest message Cleveland sent all season. And if you want more breakdowns, wild moments, and real talk like this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.